Don't want to block out the new hardware for today's video. Hey guys, my name is Ryan Styles Harris, and in today's video, we are going oval racing again. And not only are we just doing some oval racing, we're going back to the Chili Bowl. So I have to give a quick thank you to the folks over at Wits Racing. Mr. Clue Connors is back at it again and forcing me, giving me no option other than to go back to the Chili Bowl. And for good reason. It was a super fun time and we need some redemption. Last year we got there a little bit late, huge learning curve, car that I didn't build, but we still had a good time. This year, hopefully it's going to be very different. Built up a 2024 Assault Sprint car from GFRP. That thing's beautiful. It's amazing. I can't wait to run this on that track. And we have a 2024 Assailant, the super late model from GFRP. This year, a little bit different. We have done a little bit of oval prep. We have been racing oval on and off throughout the course of this year with a 2024 GFRP Assault HB, which sitting back there. These two sprint cars, very similar. This one more geared towards the low bite environment, hence the pin style tires. But we have been learning a lot about our Assault HB car, and I have a lot of confidence going into this event this year with this car. So to kick things off, let's jump into today's sponsor, which is none other than Wits Racing. If you guys are looking to put some of the best ceramic bearings, titanium goodies, electric cooling fans, and other odds and ends that are over on the witsracing.com website, be sure to use code RHRC and receive 20% off of your order. So if you're doing indoor or outdoor dirt oval, indoor, outdoor, off-road, 10 scale stuff, lots of amazing stuff to put into your car to keep it running smooth, rolling fast, and looking really, really cool. RHRC, 20% off. Use it at checkout. You'll thank me later. So we ran two classes over at Ron John's for the St. Jude's kind of Christmas race that they do annually. It's one of the bigger events that they have, so we had some nice fast guys out there, including my now Exalt teammate, AJ Marasco, and I was pitting with Kevin Abbott as well. Super fun. We had some of the Exalt goodies in my cars, and I was really excited to try this stuff out. How about we start with the late model car and we save the best for last, the more exciting for last. The sprint car stuff, we'll cover that right after the late model. This super late model was a fresh build going into this event. I'd never run it before, and I really liked the vibes, the feelings that I was getting from the car as we were breaking it in, getting it set up and ready for the main event. The body you see here is the GFRP body. I believe it's called the Typhoon. I'll link it down below for your guys' reference over on the GFRP website. Man, one thing, painting and building oval bodies is no joke. It takes way more paint than I was thinking, takes longer to paint, and then you got to put it all together and mount it correctly. This is not for the faint of heart. Maybe I should do a video on how to build, paint, and mount oval bodies for like a sprint car and a late model. If you guys think that'd be interesting, please let me know in a comment down below. Maybe I'll work on that in the future. So anyways, let's take the body off and see what we have in our build so far. So in this car, we have a kind of mixture of electronics because we're transitioning into running the Exalt platform for 2025. But to start it off, let's go ahead and go with the big juicy stuff. I was running the big kind of stick pack style 2S. This is the 8200 milliamp 2S stick pack, or full-size stick pack, I guess we could call it. And I really like running these batteries, especially in the high bite scenario. So just having that extra milliamp, I really enjoyed it because my car felt it had the same pace from start to finish. So that was really nice. Really enjoy that. We have a Exalt Phoenix 6.0 modified motor. I think this motor is fine for a high bite, fast track that can handle this kind of power. But I think that I would like to go to a 7.0 when I go to the Chili Bowl. Just kind of calm that car down. I don't need all the wheelie horsepower in the world. This thing has plenty of power, and we'll get to it in a second, but this car produces a tremendous amount of grip, which is what I'm really excited about. So when you do put that power into the ground, front tires come off pretty much on command. I believe I was running my throttle rate at like 70%. Anytime I tried to go above 70, 75, it was just instant wheelie, do a backflip on the straightaway. So plenty of power, definitely have to tone it down, especially when I go to Chili Bowl. ESC, this is just an old first gen XR10 Hobby Wing. It was what I had in my box, so we just threw it in here to finish the build, and it's smooth. Works great, just put a quick tune in it for the basic settings I was looking for, and it worked fine. So we'll be running that in the Chili Bowl as long as it stays together. No issues there. Quasi-speed steering servo. These things give me the speed I'm looking for. Nice, consistent feel through the corner. Love that. As far as this car goes, I'm not an expert. This was my first event on it, and huge thank you to Grant Riles, one of the GFRP drivers. He gave me some setup tips to get this thing feeling good and finding a little bit more corner speed out of this car. Right out of the box, the way that I built it, it just didn't want to go through the corner because it was so stuck in the track. I had to try and steer it, but the rear end was so hooked up that the car was kind of fighting itself to get through the corner. So we tried to free it up as the weekend went on and kind of reduce some of the aggressive steering feel we had in the front end. So I'll talk briefly about the two things that we worked on to get this car where it was for the main at Ron John's. Biggest thing for the rear end that was interesting, and this was kind of a tip from Grant, was at the high-speed stuff, you typically think run as much rear steer as possible because you'll go faster. It seemed like we had gone too far into the rear steer category, and the car was actually creating bind. It's almost like we had too much toe on the left rear, and then the right was just kind of not really able to do what it needed to do. So we were at max rear steer, and the car was bound up. We weren't getting it through the corner. So we actually took it away on both sides. So I believe the max that you can do is 6 degrees on either side, and we just went to 4 and 4. So we were super rear steer, and we just reduced it, and the car went faster, which I thought was interesting. So that was the biggest thing I learned about it on that particular day. On the front end, the car wanted to keep steering off corner exit, and to try and get it to calm down and just let go of the front end at the right time, we just added some inner link, ball link spacing. The GFRP cars come with a flippable inner camber link mount, so it kind of gives you an instant gain of about 2 or 3 millimeters of ball stud spacing. So we have ours flipped up with the highest that you could go, and then we have an additional 3 mil of spacing just to get that front end to let go off corner exit. It's something I do a lot in 10 scale with the off-road stuff. If my car was steering into the ground on corner exit, just add that inner ball link spacing, and it seemed to let that car freely exit the corner under hard acceleration. Other than that, I really don't have any speed secrets on this car, other than the fact it is absolutely beautiful. I love, love, love what Dustin has done with these GFRP cars. Just nice carbon black, little bit of titanium here and there. It is just all around one of the most beautiful fit and finish cars in the oval industry right now. So if you're someone that obsesses over the aesthetic of a car, I cannot speak highly enough about the GFRP stuff. Dustin just does a phenomenal job making these cars go fast and look fast. That's it for everything that we have in this car. Really liking what it has. Lots of overall grip. Fit and finish is amazing. Love this car. Give it a 10 out of 10. Let's jump into this main, kind of talk you through how the car was feeling, and then we'll jump into the sprint car right after that. Going into the main event here, we definitely got the car going in the best direction that it was all day. This was as fast as the car had felt. We were going really good in Q3 until another car just flat out took us out twice for no reason. It was a little frustrating, so we could have started a little bit higher up on the main, but knowing what that car was doing in qualifying, I kind of had my game plan of avoid the cars that are going to take me out and just try to be as close as I can to the guys that are up front. That was our game plan. So let's jump into it and see how it goes.
And we're off. Next time we're going to get it wrong early. If you can't keep it together, I'm going to pull you off soon.
There, I tried to back it off, and I went super slow corner inch. But at this point, he's a lap down, and I got to get around him. Now, enter gray and orange car. This is the guy that absolutely just cleaned out my rear fenders in the last qualifier. So I saw him, and I was slowing down because of the black car in front of me, and I said, oh no, here we go again. So I just let him by immediately. And I'll be honest, my plan was to just take him out before he took me out. It's kind of the way it goes in oval racing sometime. If some guy has your number all day long, guess what, buddy? Now it's your turn. So let him by, and I said, okay, now I'm just going to pick my spot, and I'm either going to pass you clean or I'm taking you out. He went wide, so I saw my opportunity to pass him clean, so we did that. But now I'm thinking, oh, shoot, this is what I get. Passing him clean, he's just going to take me out in the next corner. And he slowed down. Thank you for not taking me out. So Tony Cheatham, I think he's either putting us our lap down or he had a crash and I was catching up. I can't remember. Big difference between his car and my car. He's on a custom works. On corner entry, I have to shut down on the straightaway so early just so that I can get the car to start turning in. And the car is still generating so much grip that it's just holding on too much in the mid corner. So don't know if the answer is to find more steering or to just do something to free up the rear end even more. Something I'll play with in the future, obviously a chili bowl. But it was something that Tony's car was doing very well. I actually drove it at the end of the night, and his car would get into the corner and through the mid corner so fast. His car had the perfect setup for today's particular event. And I'm fairly confident that my car could get there because it's fairly neutral on all of its settings. Nothing is too extreme in one direction. So it still has a lot of tunability, which gives me a lot of confidence taking this thing to its next event. That the baseline characteristic of this car is that it has a tremendous amount of grip, and I have plenty of room to go either direction in the front or the rear end of the car to get more or less grip. So super excited about that. He was way faster, just let him go. Tried to give him a nice clean line, and I just wanted to see if I had any shot at following him, but he immediately started gapping me, and it was just frustrating to see how much faster he was than I am. So at this point, I'm not a lap down yet to the car that's in front of me. I believe he's trailing me a little bit back there. The black car that's kind of lurking a straightaway behind. It's so easy to just keep hitting the lines with this car. It has so much grip. It's so stable front to back. This was the easiest that it had felt all day. Unfortunate break for Eric Everett. He had a really fast car at this event as well. So Zimmerman got loose coming out of that corner, and I knew we were on the same lap. So I said, okay, this is it. We're getting towards the end of the race here. I got to make this car go as fast as it possibly can. Just give it everything we got.
Taylor's going about 2.2 seconds back. I think it does, but Taylor's up to that key spot.
Getting a little rowdy.
12 to go, driver, 12 to go.
Even though this distance isn't that far, I knew that his car was faster than mine all day. So if he kind of got it locked in here at the end of the night, at the end of this race, he would just walk it away from me. So the only thing I could do was try my absolute best to hit the absolute perfect lines and hope there's an opportunity for a pass.
Time to go, driver, time to go. They're gonna be towing.
That's me hitting perfect lines as fast as I can go, and he's just walking away.
Zimmerman closing the gap on Harris. Only 1.5 seconds back with 7 to go. That's going to be our closest battle for position right now.
Trying different lines to see if opening the corner would find more speed. That's just me getting frustrated, being dramatic on the driver's stand. Yeah, he was way off pace, and then he just pulls right back into the middle of the racing line. It's a little frustrating. I would have seen the leaders come in, and I don't think I would have done that.
Please.
Here comes Zimmerman. That's your battle for the 2 and 3 with 4 to go as they come across the line.
So Zimmerman gets me, and then he goes wide. We get him right back.
3 to go, drivers, 3 to go.
3 to go. Even at 3 to go, with this much of a gap, I knew he could run me down if he really greased his lines perfectly. So I was still super nervous.
Let's see if Zimmerman can bring the ball back. It's their final time across the line. See if Steven across the line. The race is over. Racing to the end, guys. The race, drivers. Everybody is done.
So, not a win, but I'll take a second with a nice little battle there with Zimmerman at the end. So, really happy with where that car is at currently. Super positive feedback on everything, lots of grip, just need a little bit more steering, maybe free up the rear end a little bit, but overall, I'm really happy with what we're bringing to the Chili Bowl with this car. I'm really hoping that that overall grip and stability feel is going to directly translate when we take it to a low bite environment. I really think it's going to, and I'm really excited to try it out. Okay, let's jump into sprint car. Okay, so like I said, this is the Assault HB variant, which is what we raced at Ron's, and we're going to be taking the 2024 Assault, which is the low bite variant for this particular sprint car platform from GFRP. So I'll go ahead and walk you through what's in here, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about how I built my other car. And before I jump into a deep dive on this setup, I just have to say from the onset, I have to give a huge thank you to AJ Marasco, because he really worked hard to get this car to be as fast as it was on that particular day. And I basically just copy pasted everything he had for setup. Not only that, I'll get to it in a minute, but because I had such a bad qualifying effort in Q1, 2, and 3, I don't think I finished a single race. One, because I think Q1, my setup was not good. Car was just too loose. Didn't want to get in people's ways, so I just pulled it off. And then in Q2 and 3, I believe, I just broke. One of them, not by virtue of my own, just another car crashed into me and broke. So my qualifying efforts were really, really, really bad on this particular day, and I was quite frustrated. Really thankful to be with the Exalt team with Kevin and AJ, because AJ is relentless when it comes to finding a setup in a car. He will just wrench until that thing feels absolutely perfect. So on this day, he absolutely nailed the setup, and I was very thankful he was able to share it with me. Let's jump into the finer things that we learned about our setup on this day, and I'll share it with you guys. So I don't know what kind of body types are out there, but this is just the body that came with the car. Been running it all year. As you can tell, it's very beat up, but hey, it stayed together, and might need to replace some of these body straps and supports, but she did good. Okay, jumping into the car. Same platform. We had the big 8200 stick pack full-size 2S deal. Love this battery. This car is kind of like the perfect balance if you find yourself bouncing around from medium bite tracks to high bite tracks. This car is very capable of running in either of those environments and doing well. Obviously, you're going to change the setup a little bit to cater towards that track, but it's nice that you only need one car to kind of be versatile between those environments. Again, I've talked about this car in the past, and like I said, with the late model, absolutely love the fit finish look of this GFRP car. The carbon, the black, the titanium, It's just amazing. I absolutely love it. So, big stick pack. Behind it is going to be an Exalt Phoenix 6.5 modified motor. This thing was plenty powerful. I believe that like I was turning my throttle rate down on my super late model, I also turned my throttle rate down on this car, mainly because I was running it with a locker throughout the beginning of the weekend, and then going into the main, I'll explain more in a second, I finally put on a slipper. But having this with a locker, I think I was running my throttle rate at about 80%. And anything above that, the car was just going to wheelie instantly all the time, and it was very hard to drive. ESC I'm using in this car is the old R1 ESC that I have. Works great, works fine. Just put a little bit of a softer tune in it to kind of calm it down from the spec racing that I was doing with it prior. I'll probably be transitioning that to something like a Hobby Wing or a Exalt ESC when it comes out. I'm not sure. But that's what's in there for now, and that's why. And then, of course, running the quasi-speed steering servo up front. Same great feel that we've always had. Oh, and then obviously running some Witz goodies in here, ceramic bearings, and the Witz aluminum fan that we've opted to mount just above the motor. Discount code RHRC, save you 20%. Now, I didn't talk about this much with my super late model, but with this one, I was playing with the shocks. When you purchase this vehicle from the GFRP site, there's a little bit of a drop-down option menu that you can order it with small bore shocks or big bore shocks. I started the weekend on the small bore shocks, and I think overall the small bore shocks give you a very reactive feel. I think they might generate a little bit more initial grip, where they become possibly a little bit of an issue, especially in a high bite environment. They become very twitchy. They move so fast that the car tends to not want to settle down as much as it could. I think it's a very subjective thing. Driver feel, maybe a little bit of track kind of circumstance. But I wanted to play around with the big bore shocks, mainly because Kevin and AJ had switched over to them and they really liked the way they felt. So I had a set of those in my box and I opted to put them on. And I really liked it. The car instantly calmed down. It wasn't bouncing as much in the mid corner, and it just felt great. Perhaps I could play with some oils and pistons and different spring rates to get a similar feel, but I think that the big bore shocks, this is just kind of what they do. They move a little bit less, they're not as twitchy, and they calm the car down. So for this particular day, that's what we were looking for, so that's why I ran them. One thing that I'm fairly certain Dustin is working on is a laydown transmission. Brief history lesson for those of you that don't know. Once upon a time, we were on the, let's call it the B5 era of RC, the Team Associated RC10 B5M, I guess we'll call it. And it had a mid-motor configuration, but the gearbox was a little bit more stood up. I don't know if they called it the layback or if it was a full-on stand-up. I can't remember. When the B6 came out, the big deal was that they had a lay down transmission option where it just shifted everything a little bit further forward and it brought those idler gears down a little bit lower. Overall, what it ended up doing is the mid corner got a lot faster. You sacrificed a little bit rear end mechanical grip from having that lay back transmission feel, but when you shifted it forward and the grip was readily available, it was faster. So AJ, being the speed demon that he is, he had one of those in his car and it seemed to be working very well. I didn't all day. I just had the lay back and I really wanted to try one. So in the B main that we'll go through here in a minute, AJ actually just let me run his car to see if I liked it. I wasn't sure if I should go knocking on everybody's trailer doors, seeing if anybody had an extra laydown transmission that I could try. So we just ran his car to see if I liked it. And I did. Oh my gosh. It was instantly tons of corner speed, lots of initial. The car didn't have excessive roll in the mid corner. It just cruised right on through and it felt amazing. So we'll go through that B main in a minute. I knew that I had to track one of those down when and if I made the A main. So let's go through this B main. It was exciting. And then when I get back, we'll talk a little bit more about it and see where we ended up. Okay, so we had a terrible qualifying effort through 1, 2, and 3 rounds of qualifying, and we are now in the B main. Back of the B main. Group of great guys, but it was going to be a little bit of a challenge because I think that my speed for the particular day should have sorted me somewhere in the top 3 if everything went my way in qualifying. So to be this far back, a little bit of a difference in speed, I think, especially that I was running arguably the fastest car at the event, which was AJ's car, just with my body on it. So let's just see how this goes. I think we're starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. One pass, 2 pass. I'm just trying to not break the car. That's really the biggest thing, because I want to respect AJ's car as much as I could. So much chaos right in front of us. Oh God, oh no. So hard to not crash when you make contact with a sprint car because they're open tire. So if you get next to somebody, it usually results in like quite the tumble. Oh, you never know which direction a car is going to go, so always nerve-wracking to make a pass. Oh, cars inside, outside, slowing down in front of me. So he did a little donut. No. Nowhere for us to go. Thankfully, didn't break the car. Oh God. I backed it off because I saw the blue car and I was worried he was going to do a donut again, which, you know, it's fine. He's running his race. I just didn't want to hit him again. So I backed off and you saw my car do that little squirm. Oh no. And then he turned right at the end of the straightaway. Hopefully you got your stuff sorted out and got some good laps out there, but that was a challenge.
Obama for your leader. White flag for Ryan Harris. They will go around for the final time. They'll take the race win and the Mod Sprint.
I'm gonna pass you. Oh no!
Blue car strikes again. I was broke and I was worried I didn't pass the line yet.
Oh my God!
But we got it. So lots of confusion, laughs by the boys there at the end of the race. They were watching the carnage ensue, but we survived and we bumped to the 8. My car was copy-paste the same, everything that AJ had, except for the transmission. So one of my fellow Exalt teammates, he had one in his car that he raced in the 13.5 sprint main. And I just asked him, hey, could I run that in my main right after your main? So I believe he was like a main event or 2 apart from the mod sprint. So as soon as he finished, he handed me his car. We ripped out the transmission, threw it in my car, and then I jumped into the A main. So huge thank you for letting me run that transmission. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that it made a huge difference and it really worked well for the track environment we were experiencing on this particular day. So let's jump into that main event. It was pretty exciting and see how the car did. Okay, so A main event, got the hot rod transmission in there, and I was feeling really good. After the warm-up laps, I kind of had a quick convo with AJ and just confirmed. I was like, yeah, this is what we need for today, and it was going to be a good one. AJ's starting on the pole. We're starting one spot from the back because we got the bump. My game plan had 2 parts. 1, be there at the end. And the way that I was going to do that was drive it as fast as you need to, not as fast as you possibly can. That was our goal. So we'll jump into the start and see how it goes. So just pick them off one at a time. See where we're at in like 10 or 15 laps.
We got AJ leading us off, making his way down to 1-2 already. Oh, just a little loose. I was going to say he's pulling away.
So AJ made a mistake. So I knew that kind of changed the dynamic of the race for me. So the fastest car that I had to deal with was now behind me. Everyone else that was now in front of me, I honestly felt like I was a little bit faster than them. So confidence just went up quite a bit.
And Mercedes German leading us off now. Eric Evans in that 2 spot, 7 Cheatham in the 3, Ryan Harris in the 4. Then they're working their way around the 1-2. Nice and tight. Coming up on the back a little bit. Little man gives him playing the room. High side there for Eric. He's going to get Peter down on the 2 spot now. Just on the cross the strike.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Come on.
So Tony, one of my fellow Exalt teammates there, unfortunate, got into a crashed car, and I believe it broke his car. Kind of completely took him out of contention for the win there. So now it's going to be basically 1 or 2 cars that I'm going to have to deal with. Zimmerman and Eric Everett. They're kind of the 2 fast guys. And I'm not sure if Eric is still in front of me or if he had crashed as well and is behind me now. But now I said to myself, okay, the white cars, where are they on the track? And am I running them down? So that's kind of what I'm thinking at this point in the race.
Oh, he's broke. Y'all gotta look both ways before you pull out on the traffic.
So that's Eric in front of me. And now I'd say I'm driving the car a lot closer to 100%. We're really trying to put in the fast laps so that we stay on this lead group.
Whoa, whoa.
Whew. Okay, so Mr. Marshall, thank you that you were kind enough to work on Tony's car to get him back out on the track. Kudos. Issue: don't put a car back in the racing line right on the exit of a corner. That's pretty much a guarantee that we're going to hit this guy. So you don't know as the marshal if the driver is paying attention, if he's going to go immediately. Is there going to be a delay, like in this case, if he was going to run again? So quick, easy solution: always put the car over here if you can. So that way it avoids the cars as they go a little bit wider on the exit of the corner and gives him plenty of space to get up to speed and back into the racing program. So be nice, Marshall, sure, if the race director allows you to fix cars, and then put them back where they're not going to get hit by other cars immediately.
Whoa, whoa.
Thankfully, we didn't hit it. So Eric just did a donut there. Now I'm very confident I'm in second. Yeah, I'm in second. So the white car with the green wing, I know, is Zimmerman. And we're really chopping away at this gap. I know he just went through traffic, but I'm still trying to go as fast as I can to get there.
20 down, 30 to go, 20 down, 30 to go.
Really chopping into it. He goes so wide. It's unfortunate. This corner, I don't know if I had talked about it yet or not, but over the hurricane season, a lot of water got put down on the track, and the track's obviously closed during that time. And by the time they went back to kind of get the surface work back in again, there was so much water that had pooled over here that it brought a lot of the sandy dirt in the surrounding area and then left it right there in between turns 3 and 4. So he tried to stay in it to see if he could keep some speed, but then we just went right around. So now I'm in this spot where it's like, we're in the lead. So what do? Do we keep going as fast as we can? Do we back it off? So for this one, I knew that I was faster than him, and I said, okay, we can go as fast as we can for about 3 or 4 laps, and then if we can, I'm going to back it down to avoid traffic and just keep putting in the consistent, smooth laps.
There goes Harris for that pass for the 1 spot. Zimmerman now all over his back door.
Slowly but surely, just putting a couple car links on every lap, so I knew that we were good.
So wide in the 3, wide in the 3, wide in the 3. Okay.
Whoa, don't do that. Jeez.
Again, putting the cars down on the racing line. I appreciate your attentiveness. You're doing your marshal duties, but just try to do them in a way that you're not going to ruin the race for other cars when you put a car back.
Zimmerman's gonna get loose.
So now Eric, I believe, is in second. So I knew that I was about to put him a lap down, but I didn't really want to force the issue because I didn't know where he was at in battling with the car that was closest to him. So I'm not expecting him to slow down and just let me pass him, but I still obviously have to go at some point because I'm trying to win the race.
Gentlemen gets all over the wrists, been able to keep it together. Eric all over his back row makes a move to the inside, going in the 3-4. Hitting John Harris on the take a left.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Get to the inside.
Zimmerman, I'm not sure. He just was struggling with the car at this point. It looks like the grip just went away from him completely. Now, AJ was catching up to me, and I knew that he was battling with Eric, and there was only like less than 10 laps to go, 5 laps to go maybe. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, if I let him around, he can continue to drive at that, 100% pace to try and get the second place spot. And I don't have to do that because I have at least a lap on these guys, and there's not enough time left in the race for them to drive all the way back around me just on pace alone. So I was getting ready to let him by so that he could battle with Eric for the next spot, and then I could just continue to run my solid, consistent pace that should have gotten me the win.
Down, coming up on 5 to go, 45 down, coming up on 5 to go. Zimmerman getting out into the infield, going to give AJ a little
I'll let you go, AJ.
Oh, okay. And he got loose, it didn't work out, so then I was like, okay, that was your opportunity, now I'm just going to finish the race.
It looks like that's going to be our finishing order as Ryan Lance comes by with the white flag. And by taking the race win here in the Moss Sprint 8.
Oh, shit. Straight away, straight away. Turn one, turn one.
A little bit of chaos there at the end of the race, but hey, we got the job done. So huge shout out, thank you to AJ and Kevin for working really hard, getting my car to go as fast as it was. Really excited for the platform that we're going to be taking to the Chili Bowl. I think this thing's going to be a rocket ship, and with this team effort that we got going on, how could we possibly lose? So, hey, Ryan can have a little bit of racing success every once in a while. So that was pretty cool. Again, none of that would have been possible without Kevin and AJ, and a little bit of racer luck there with some crashes going my way versus the other way, which they normally do. But all in all, it was a really fun weekend. Even if we didn't win, it was so worth it to be able to wrench and tune and spend time with those guys. I had an absolute blast. Kind of felt like what club racing should be. As far as what we're taking to the Chili Bowl, it's basically this car, everything that was in it, but in the 2024 Assault platform. So same thing, just pin tires and the geometry that is the other car. And I put numbers on the other body, so now I'm official. Can't make fun of me for that anymore. So I'm ready for the Chili Bowl. I hope that you guys are. If you guys are going to be there, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Say hello to everybody. Hope that we're going to have a great time. I'm hopefully going to spend a little bit of time on the big car side this year. I know that Clue has some arrangements there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to shake out. Again, huge thank you to them for sponsoring today's video and getting me on the road back to Chili Bowl. Please use that code RHRC, save you 20% on any of their bearings, titanium goodies, fans, you name it. And that's going to be it for this one. So thanks you guys for watching. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And I'll see you next time. Peace. I just think that a mod sprint car is, I'm just going to say it, it is the coolest looking RC car being raced today. It's just so cool. Look at giant wing. It's just too cool.